Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Even the Scales, and thank you all for joining me today. My name's Donna and I hope you're all doing well. So today on my channel I'm going to talk about the MK Ultra mind control that has been being carried out on me by my community. I'm also going to speak a little bit more about the time I spent in the public hospital, which was all a part of this as well. And I'm also going to speak a little bit about what it means to enable a narcissist. So before I start, I would first like to acknowledge the Dharawal people, who are the true custodians of this land that I bring you these messages on today. I would also like to pay respects to elders past and present, and I would also like to extend my respects to all Torres Strait Islander people and Aboriginal people who are watching this video today. So, as a part of the MK Ultra mind control that has been being carried out on me for some time now, a part of it is to generate as much noise and pollution as possible from any kind of transport that they can use. And this has been going on for, as I said, quite some time. The noisy traffic has been going on for the past 7 months. And it starts at around 3:30 or 4 a.m. in the morning when I first get up, because they have a bug in my home and they listen for when I wake up and they start up the noise straight away. And they're using any kind of vehicle to do this that they can find. They're using cars, bikes, they're even using trains, aeroplanes, any kind of noise that they can generate from something with an engine, they will use. So this morning was the first time that this hasn't happened for 7 months. Other than this morning, they have created loud noise with vehicles from around 3:30 to 4 a.m. every single morning. They were also doing it last night at around 8:30. And last night at about 8:30, I heard how noisy it was and I just happened to look up what the noise restriction regulations were. And as soon as I did that, the noise just completely stopped. There was also no noise at 3:30 a.m. or 4 o'clock this morning either, for the first time. So this is because they have hacked my phone as well. They watch everything I do in my home and on my phone. And they seen me looking that up, so they straight away stopped what they were doing. It's a huge network of people carrying this out, including the police who are involved in this as well. And it is actually supposed to be the local council and the police who are regulating the noise control. So I don't know what's going on in this community, but they are definitely infringing on the noise restrictions and have been for quite some time. What they're doing has also been creating an enormous amount of pollution, unnecessary pollution, carbon emissions that shouldn't have even been happening at all. You know, over the period of 7 months, this has got to be having a negative effect on the community. It's got to be affecting people who have breathing issues. It's probably affecting people's mental health, their stress levels, and it's also probably affecting people's concentration levels, especially children. So I don't think these are the things that they thought about before they started doing this. They're also doing this throughout the day as well. Up until today has been the first time that the police in this town have not stalked me. They usually stalk me on and off all day, every day, using their siren. And they're also sending very noisy traffic up this street where I live constantly. They're sending noisy trucks, noisy cars, and trail bikes up the street. And, you know, I don't know what it must be like for people who have small babies or anything like that, trying to get their babies to sleep the way it's been lately. Like, it's just been so unfair to the whole community. But as I said, a lot of the community are in on this. So it's been being done to me to try and shut me up, or to try and get a negative reaction out of me. They're trying to prove that, like, they want to lock me up, basically. They want to put me back into the hospital where they had me earlier this year, which was all totally set up by my community. So ever since I got out, my whole community has constantly been trying to cause me stress in any way possible to try and get that negative reaction out of me. And the whole time, I haven't had any kind of outburst or anything, even when I was in the hospital, because it's all set up. They're trying to make it happen. The police are actually stalking right now. I just heard their siren go on because they know I'm making this video. So last night as well, certain neighbours are involved in this, and they thought that it would be a great idea to start, making things go bump in the night, like to try and scare me. So the neighbours also watch my phone. They've all hacked my phone, the ones that are involved in this, not all of them, but the ones that are involved, which is quite a few of them. They've also hacked my phone, so they know everything I do on my phone, and they also listen in on the bug that's in my house. So last night I was listening to some meditation music, and when I'd finished, they knew I'd finished. They knew I'd taken the earplugs out, and that's when they started. They started just, I don't really know what they were doing, but they were banging on the walls and pipes and just trying to create noise outside my home as well, just trying to scare me. And, I just can't believe that this is older people doing this. The people that live here are not, real young people. There might be one or two, but most of the people are mature age people. And I just can't believe that it's, mature age people doing this kind of thing. And yeah, they're doing it to scare me. But the thing is, like, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually a psychic, and I knew what they was doing straight away. So, yeah, straight away I knew what was going on. Not only that, being a psychic, I actually can speak to passed over people. And so it takes a lot to scare me, like things that go bump in the night don't really scare me. It takes a lot to, scare me in that way. So, yeah, I found it quite amusing actually. And I just thought how childish of these people. And, as I said, they have the ones that are involved in this that live around me have hacked my phone. They know everything I do on my phone, and they also listen in on the bug constantly that's in my house. So, I looked up this morning, and it's actually a 3-year jail term for this kind of thing, for cyberbullying and hacking phones and things like that. So, obviously some of these people are going to be going to prison in the future for what they've done. And, not only are they doing that, they are actively trying to stalk me in the, middle of the night to try and put fear into me. So, yeah, this is why I need to make these videos in order to protect myself, because as I said, the police are involved in this, and I have, called my landlord for help, and, I've been advised to contact the police. But I mean, how can I contact the police when they are involved in this whole thing as well? So this is why I'm making these videos. I'm also making them, to make others aware that there is this kind of thing going on in communities, because who knows how many people this is happening to, or how many people has it happened to in the past? How many people have gone into public hospitals and not come out, because when they set me up and put me in a hospital earlier this year, I definitely wasn't meant to come out of that place. So yeah, I thank God every day that I did get out. And every day since I've been out, all they have done is try to get me back in there by trying to increase my stress levels and cause a negative emotional reaction so that I'll look crazy. That's why they're doing this. So, yeah, so the neighbours last night thought it would be a great idea to do that. So this is the kind of thing I'm dealing with on a daily basis. And as I said earlier this year, as a part of this mind control that's been carried out, my community did set it up for me to be taken to hospital. I was admitted as an involuntary mental health patient, against my will. But they did it back the front, like they admitted me to the hospital and then they tried to cause a mental health episode to me when they got me there so that they could keep me there. But I should never have been there in the first place because I did nothing. I'm a totally innocent person as well. I've done nothing to deserve any of this but speak up for justice for myself. So, I'm just wondering, like, is this the kind of thing that the justice system do to anyone who speaks up about injustices that have been done to them? So, yeah, so it was all set up by my community, and they also set up fake patients in this hospital. All of the patients were fake in there. And the main goal of these fake patients was to bully and taunt and degrade me and to mock everything that I did to try and, break me down mentally to get that reaction out of me. And it never happened the whole time. And one morning I come out to have breakfast and there was this group of women there, of fake patients, and they started taunting me, like, insinuating that I was a gay woman. And, I'm definitely not a gay woman and I never have been in my life, but I don't know whether they were told lies about me before, I was put in there. I feel like they probably were. But however, that's not the issue here. What the issue is here is why on earth in the first place were this group of women taunting someone in this day and age about being a gay person, whether it be a man or a woman. There should be no reason in this day and age why anyone is bullying or making fun of anyone who is a gay person because, that is that person's choice and there's definitely nothing wrong with that at all. So that was what I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe that this was happening. And, as I said, I'm definitely not a gay person and I never have been. But, it was just the fact that they were actually taunting me. Yeah. So if I had been a gay person, they would have been taunting a person for being gay, which is just so, so wrong. And they were looking for anything to mock me about or to taunt me about in there. And as I said, they all had access to my mobile phone as well. So they knew what I was looking up, who I was sending messages to, and they would, play on those things when I would go into the area where all the fake patients were, into the mule area, and that's when they would start. And yeah, they would play on the things that I did. They would mock me, they would mock my spirituality and make fun of that and everything. Like, it was just so childish. I just couldn't believe that these were adult people carrying on like this. I mean, that group of women that were carrying on about, somebody being gay, like, they were carrying on like you would expect, like, 10, 11, 12-year-old girls to carry on, like, in a school yard. Like, it was just unbelievable to me. And there was a couple of the men, or actually a few of them, men and women, who, I could tell they were really enjoying what they were doing to me. They were actually getting a real kick out of it. And I feel like they were, wanting to be like the best actor out of all of the fake patients in there, or the best abuser. And they were really doing it to get attention off the rest of the group, I think. And, I could just tell that these people were just getting such a kick out of abusing me, doing the things that they were doing. And yeah, like these people, they would have been some of the mothers, fathers themselves, sisters, brothers, some of them would have even had children themselves. And I just couldn't believe that they were getting so much enjoyment out of what they were doing to me. So I also mentioned in the last video, this is all at the public hospital, mind you. This is going on at the public hospital. It was all a complete setup. And I mentioned on one of my last videos about one of the male nurses who wore very strong aftershave one day, and it was so strong. It was really just so overpowering. It took over the whole ward, the smell of it. And yeah, I said something about it because I didn't think that it was appropriate to be wearing that in a public hospital. And after I said something about it, every single male nurse started wearing really strong aftershave, and every single female nurse started wearing very strong perfume. Like, just because I'd said something about it, just to keep trying to get a reaction out of me. At one point there, they were even just going out into the corridor and spraying aerosol cans just for no reason whatsoever. And this is nurses I'm talking about that were doing this. So this is the kind of childish thing that was going on in there. And there were also other areas of the health system involved in this as well. And what I mean by that is like other areas of the public health system that I was, needing to use at that time. And there was one day in there that I actually needed to call a dentist. So I was calling to make an appointment, and you know how you hear the recording tell you where you are in the queue? Well, the recording come on, it said like that I was like third in the queue, for example, and then when the recording would come back on again, it would say that I was like 12th in the queue. So they were actually manipulating the phone line, like just to try and cause stress to me in that way. Then there was a blood test that I had done while I was in the hospital, and I wasn't feeling too good, and I wanted to know what the results of that blood test was. And I kept asking and asking, and it took about 5 days, and it took me asking so many times to be given the result of that blood test. Finally, they gave me the result of that blood test, but when they gave it to me, like, there was not even a name or a date of birth or anything on it. So I don't know if this was even my blood test. There's nothing there to tell me that it's my blood test. And, it was as if they were trying to hide something from me. And before I'd gone into the hospital, I had low iron. And when I come out of the hospital, I had low iron. So whether it was that or not, I'm not quite sure. But low iron can cause confusion, and it can also cause breathing problems. And they wanted me to be confused in there. They were trying to confuse me any way that they could, because they wanted to say that I wasn't capable of being able to take care of myself, so that they could keep me there. So, and I was also having breathing issues, which was why they kept wearing the strong aftershave and perfume, just to try and provoke more breathing issues. So I very well could have had low iron while I was in there, and they weren't letting me know. I'm not 100% sure about that, but that definitely could have been the case. But they were definitely stalling in giving me those results. And yeah, as I say, there's not even a name on those results to say that they're actually mine. So yeah, they were purposely trying to get reactions out of me the whole time. And then when I got out of that, from that stay at the hospital, I had to go back and have day surgery done. I spoke about that on the last video as well, but there was something else that happened on that day. And what it was the day before I had to go for the day surgery, a nurse had called me at home and told me what time I had to arrive at the hospital, and that was 6:30 in the morning. So I got myself there, I called a cab there, and I was there by 6:30. And when I got there, I didn't know where to go. And I thought, well, I'll call reception at the hospital and, they'll be able to tell me where to go. Well, when this person answered the phone, like they must have been waiting for my call. Like, I feel like this has been the case through all this. Like, everybody knows, all sections of the health system knows that if I call, well, this is what they're meant to do, is create confusion and just try and get a negative reaction out of me, which is what they've tried to do. And this person who answered the phone on that morning, like they didn't even sound like a receptionist. And all they were trying to do was confuse me, you know, with the directions they were giving me. And they also said to me, why are you here at 6:30 in the morning? I don't know why they told you to be here this early. So, they were trying to make out like I was wrong for being there that early when I was told to be there the day before by the nurse to be there at 6:30 in the morning. But, this is the kind of thing they were doing. And that's not the first time that's happened to me either, ringing the Campbelltown Public Hospital's reception. It's happened to me in the past too, during last year when I had to call the outpatient section a couple of times. I was also deliberately, given the runaround and, just, diverted to the wrong place and things like that, or just completely cut off as well. So, this is the kind of thing they've been doing. And did I mention there was also a nurse that was, no, I didn't. There was also a nurse that was mocking me as well, which I couldn't believe in the hospital. There was also a nurse, actually. She would come in to take my blood pressure or to give me my medication, and she would, she would stand there and she would be copying my mannerisms and mocking everything I do, which I just couldn't believe at the time that it was happening. But that's what she was doing. So there's that. So that's really all I want to talk about the hospital right now. But there are just some other things that happened while I was in there. And if, you want to go back and listen to the other videos that I've made, there's more on them about what happened to me during my 5-week stay in the hospital. So, I also want to talk a little bit about narcissistic abuse today as well, and especially about enabling a narcissist, because I myself have pretty much been surrounded by narcissists my whole life. I am an empath myself, and it's, a thing, quite well-known thing, that an empath can actually attract a lot of narcissists during their life. And this is due to the fact of how caring and compassionate an empath is. We're also very forgiving people. We like to see the best in people, and we like to help people a lot. So we tend to attract narcissists because narcissists look at people like us as, complete pushovers, which we definitely are not. But, that's how they look at us when they meet us, just because of how caring we are. And a narcissist person can actually come across like a very, very charming person. They can also be very charismatic as well. And they are very, very skilled at manipulating people's emotions. Very skilled. And they can do it without you even knowing it. They can also operate very covertly in a community of people or in a family unit. without a lot of people knowing. So, it may only be the person that they're abusing that actually knows how much of an abuser that person is. And they can hide it very well from all the other people because they are so likable. Most narcissists are very likable when you first meet them. So it was during around 2014 to 15 that I started educating myself about narcissists because I myself was dealing with a very abusive relationship at the time. And how somebody becomes a narcissist is it's usually due to something that's happened to them during their childhood that makes them completely shut off from any kind of emotion. And it's the same with the empath. Empaths usually become the way they are because of some kind of abuse that happened to them in their childhood as well. They become like, a bit too overgiving to people and things like that. And, a narcissist is the complete opposite to what an empath is. So, yeah, it's quite common for narcissists to attract to empathic people. So, unfortunately, I had to learn, as I said, I started learning about this about 2014, 15, and I had to learn things the hard way because I knew nothing about narcissists or narcissistic abuse up until that point. And what I've learned since then is that all it really takes is one narcissist in your life that can absolutely destroy your entire life and everything about your life, including your health. They will drain the life out of you to affect your health. They will drain you of your finances. They will destroy all of your relationships, and they will, stop you from doing the things that you like and things like that. Because if a narcissist sees that you can do something very well, or if they see that, people like you and you have a lot of friends, well, they will straight away become very jealous of those things. So they will want to have control over you and they will want to control who you see, what you do. And yeah, they become very jealous if you are better than them at anything. And yeah, it's because they like to be the center of attention at all times. So yeah, I've suffered a lot of psychological abuse from the narcissists that I've had in my life, and this is why I want to, let as many people know about narcissistic abuse and what to look out for, because this is what's happening in a lot of these relationships where domestic violence is going on in our communities, where people are, unfortunately losing their lives. And the thing is that I believed when I was in a relationship with a narcissist that I would be able to change the narcissist. I believed I can change this person for a very, very long time. And I actually wasted many years of my life thinking that because nothing, nothing anybody ever says and no about amount of therapy is ever going to change the way a narcissist is. Unfortunately, they are actually like quite soulless. They don't know how to feel emotions, and they don't really know how to love or anything like that. So if they do show love or if they do show any emotions, it's just an act. Like they definitely, they don't know how to put themselves into someone else's position to know how, that person feels when they're abusing them. So yeah, this is why, many people waste years of their lives in these relationships when if they knew that, that person was never going to change, like early on in the relationship, like they would try and get out, which is definitely what I did when I started to learn about that. Like that's when I started to know that, yeah, I just had to get out of the situation. And I did. And as I said, this is the reason the police are involved in carrying out this abuse on me now. It's to, keep me quiet about how they responded to my calls for help when I was calling for help during the times when I needed them while I was going through domestic and family violence in my life. And I also reported a pedophile to the police back in 2020, which they did nothing about as well. This person is still living in a community um, within meters of a school, mind you, and the police are well aware of that. And so is the landlord of the pedophile. They are also aware that they have a pedophile living in their house. So it's these mistakes that the police have made in the past that they don't want the truth getting out at all. So yeah, instead of just doing the right thing, the justice system are doing this to me. And as I said, I'm a totally innocent person. I've done nothing to deserve any of this except speak up for my own justice and rights. So, yeah, this is where, as I said, to enable a narcissist is to be the person, because as I said, they will have a lot of friends. And if they are abusing, say, their partner, someone in their life, they will try and drag as many people as possible into that relationship to try and change people's perspective of the person that they are abusing, just so that they won't look like the abuser. So yeah, as I said, they may have a lot of friends. A lot of people may like them. And this is what they do. They will use those people, they will use their energy to try and change their perspective on the person that they are abusing. Even if that person is totally innocent, they would want to try and make that person look guilty in some way to justify, if there's fighting going on in the relationship or anything like that. So this is what I mean by enabling the narcissist. So if you know of someone who is being abused and you are enabling a narcissist to use your energy in any way, you might want to think about what's actually going on in the situation if you are aware that someone's being abused. Because a narcissist is nothing without having that, that's what a narcissist does. They steal energy from people. They steal energy from the person they're abusing, and they steal energy from other people as well in their community or group, like just to feed on, just to make themselves feel better, basically. But really, they're really very weak people who, they're nothing. If they're not abusing or draining people of their energy, they are actually very weak people. So, yeah, to stand up to one is nothing really, because once you take that network of people away from them and they've got no one else to drain, they are basically a very weak person. And, it's also people like that are supporting the narcissist in a financial way as well, like bosses or landlords or friends or relatives that are giving a narcissist money, just to allow them to have a foundation upon which they can abuse another person. Well, that's another way of enabling a narcissist too, that people should be aware of. Because basically, if you're enabling a narcissist to abuse someone, well, you are pretty much abusing the person as well. So, but as I said, like a lot of people might be scared to speak up to a narcissist because they can come across very domineering, and they are also prone to having very large egos, and they also feel like they are more important than any other person in the world, even their children. Like a narcissist will believe that they are more important than even their own children. They also constantly crave attention from anywhere that they can get it. As I said, they drain people of their energy. They use people for energy. They use and abuse people, nothing more. Because as I said, they're incapable of actually feeling any kind of emotion. So, yeah, I think, if more people were aware of how a narcissist operates within communities, family groups, and whatnot, well, if more people were aware of this earlier in these kind of relationships, well, it might save a lot of abuse from even happening. So, yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about today. But as I said, I'm making these videos to protect myself and to make people aware of what's going on out here, because as I said, who knows how many people have gone into our public hospitals and never come out because something like this has been done to them. So yeah, I'm going to keep making these videos and help creating awareness about narcissistic abuse. And I want to thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you all on the next one. Bye for now. God bless.